welcome back to Casual Climbers, the podcast by and for beginning hikers and those who may not quite be physically ready to tackle the Appalachian Trail. I'm your host, Donna Padrick, and alongside me is my husband and adventure buddy, Roy.
Hey, Donna.
Hi, Roy.
So in this podcast, we provide you with information, tips, and tricks on how to get into hiking here in the Blue Ridge area. We will cover some of the hundreds of trails in the various parks and forests in the region, and maybe bring you a little chuckle along the way.
Hopefully.
We're two middle-aged, not in the very best shape hikers.
Definitely not in the best shape.
Who love the outdoors, and we want to share our experiences with you. In today's mid-year special, Donna, we break down the top 5 trails that we've done so far.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited for this. We've had a couple people ask us, hey, what are your top 10? What are your top 5? So this is it, guys. Listeners, this is your top 5 of all the trails that we've done so far
I'm
in
excited.
2024.
Yeah.
We'll do another one at the end of the year. The list might be different. It might be the same. We don't know.
It would be boring if it was the same.
It would be a little boring if it were the same.
We're doing it wrong if it's the same.
Not unless we've absolutely found the best 5 that we've done.
Oh, that is a possibility, yeah.
So what do you say, Donna? Let's get into the top 5.
We will.
So, Donna, here's the top 5 trails
Yeah.
that you and I have done so far, mid-2024 edition. Number 5, Abrams Fall Trail. This we did a couple weeks ago, back in episode 24, and it's located in the beautiful Cades Cove area of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. So let's go over a little bit about the trail.
Okay.
It's very up and down.
Yeah.
Right? It goes up, and then it goes down, and then goes up, and it goes down. And it's fun because as you're going through, you start and the stream is right next to you. Like you can just walk right to it. And then you go up and the stream is way down below you.
Yes.
And then it goes down and the stream is right next to you again.
Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy how the landscape works. But it does make it's challenging. For sure. It's challenging. But
Yeah.
it makes kind of for an interesting trail.
Mm-hmm. It does. I am so glad that I had my walking stick. Did I bring both? I think I brought both of my walking sticks on this one just because of the length of it. And I think
Yeah,
I was
it's a
very,
long
very
one.
glad
Mhm.
to have them. Also, the week before we did this hike, I was having some knee problems and I had to get on a pretty good NSAID to get that swelling down to get my knee functioning again. So I was very nervous about the pain level that I had suffered days prior to doing this. Again, we are unfit hikers and we're attempting, what was this, 5 miles?
Yeah.
Yeah. So all of that being said, this was so worth it. It was so worth
The
it.
falls area is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And there's a pool there.
Yes.
A big pool that you can get into.
Yes.
And the water's not terribly deep.
It's cold though. It's cold.
It's very cold. The water's probably waist deep. Maybe if you got close to the falls, it might be chest deep. We didn't go too close because that water moves really quickly.
It is a very powerful waterfall. That's the one where there's signs that talk about how many deaths they've had from the waterfalls. But you said that you researched it and it was...
They all happen when people climb at the top of the waterfall, not below.
Who's doing that? At
As
least
we
10
talked
people.
about, you and I have seen people do it ourselves.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. It's just not a smart thing to do.
I agree. That there's so much interesting about this trail and why it made our number 5 on the list. There's 3 log bridges that go across it. One of them that you and I talked about in episode 20 is very high up.
Very high up and very narrow.
Yeah.
And only one side has a handle.
Has a rail. Yep.
Yes. So I'm not a fan of those. Anybody who is afraid of heights or afraid of falling to their death off of a log bridge,
I don't know if you'd die, but they would hurt.
it would
You'd probably really hurt yourself.
yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, scary bridge aside, I love this trail and
Yeah.
it was worth it.
Yeah, I
So-
do too. I do too.
Yeah.
Besides being in the beautiful Cades Cove. So like getting there is half of the enjoyment. Just going through Cades Cove, how great it is.
Yeah.
But then the trail is fun by itself. And then the falls are great.
Yeah, we were not impressed with the parking area before you do the trail. So don't expect a really beautiful parking area. It's just
No.
prairie, grass, dirt.
And that permanent porta potty that was
not-
extremely
Not good.
bad smelling. Yeah.
But all of this to say, the fact that this made our
Made
list.
number 5 out of all the trails that we've done. And
Yeah.
we've done 30 up to this point.
So waterfall trails, there's such a big payoff. And on a hot day, the fact that you can get in the pool area below it and do the Nestea plunge.
Yep.
That's a big payoff.
It is. It's a big payoff. And the trail makes you work to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
But as you said, you and I were soaking with sweat by
Yes.
the time we got there.
Yeah.
And getting in that water
Was
felt
amazing.
so good. So good. Yeah. So Abrams Falls Trail in Cades Cove, number 5 on our list of top 5 trails for 2024.
Mhm.
Number 4, Donna.
Number 4, Craggy Gardens Trail, located right on the Blue Ridge Parkway in North Carolina.
This is a very different trail than Abrams Falls.
Yes, it is. There's no streams or waterfalls, but some of the most gorgeous vistas in the region. If you are about the vistas, this is for you. And the vistas just take your breath away.
There is one point where you have 240 degrees of mountain vista.
Yeah. You're just on
It's-
top of a mountain
You're on top. It's
with mountains surrounding
incredible.
you.
It
yeah.
is so incredible. Very popular trail, though.
Very popular.
There were many, many people because it's right on, like the trailhead is literally on the Blue Ridge Parkway.
It's on the Blue
It
Ridge
is
Parkway.
on the parkway.
Yes.
And so you park in the Craggy Gardens Visitor Center or the
We-
picnic area, which is a little bit below. That's
Right.
where we parked, and that's where there's way more parking.
There, yes, yes,
And there's tons of picnic tables there
yes.
at the picnic area.
That's I like where we parked because the visitor center there's a lot of parking, but it fills up fast.
Yeah, because everybody's just coming right off the parkway. right?
Literally right
Yeah.
up. Yes. So when you go to the picnic area where we parked, it's a little bit of a drive off. Like there's a turn
Yeah,
that
there's
you
a
make
turn on
and-
the parkway that takes you down about, it's probably a mile.
Yeah.
It winds down to the picnic area.
Right.
Yeah.
So the picnic area I think is better.
And there's, gosh, 100 or more parking spaces in that picnic area.
Yeah.
There's a ton.
For those of us who try at all costs to avoid crowded, very people-y areas, that picnic area parking is a way better place.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. One of the really interesting things about this particular trail too is, and so we covered this in episode 17, and you and I remarked several times how the trail, just the flora on the trail made it feel like Middle Earth, like we were in a
Yes.
a fantasy movie,
Yeah.
just because of the way the trees and the bushes and the rhododendrons and the mountain laurels, sometimes they'll canopy and you're walking under this canopy, and then it's very rooty,
Mhm.
very, very rooty.
Yeah. I want to say, okay, so we are unfit hikers, but we are maybe more fit, maybe on the more fit side of the unfit hiker group. If you really, truly, I mean, like you're not in a wheelchair, but you really, really do need like 2 hiking poles almost every time you walk out your front door, that kind of person, then parking at the visitor center and going from that side and then just going back to the visitor center would be an easier hike.
Only slightly, just
But
because.
there's a bench too down.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. There are several benches along
Okay.
the way, several benches, and yes, this is not for people who have mobility issues,
Yeah.
just because
Either
of the
side.
challenge of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which
There's-
side you're in. It's
There's some
challenge.
walking down steps sort of
And walking
thing.
up,
Walking
like
up.
from the picnic area,
Yes.
it is a scramble up those steps. There's a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. I remember I had to take a break at getting to the
at
top.
the top. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you're at the picnic area and you go up from there, there is this amazing gazebo that's about 0.35 miles in. Now you can't see it from the trail.
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to hit left,
I remember
and there's this
that.
little tiny trail that goes off to the left,
Mhm.
and it's kind of hidden behind trees and around a curve. But once you get to the gazebo, you get this amazing view of the mountain range.
Yes. We've got pictures.
Yeah,
On-
all of
Oh, you
all
said
of our
episode
pictures-
17?
Uh-huh. Episode 17. So it's this gazebo, there's benches there, so you can sit there
Mhm.
and just enjoy the vista right from the gazebo. And it's so off the path that not everybody that takes that trail even know it exists.
Right.
So you could have a little bit of quiet time there.
There is a little sign that sort of points you in that direction, but you're
It's hard
right.
to see.
It's not very obvious at all.
It's not very obvious. And then we get to the top. I say the top. I think it is the highest point of the trail. It's kind of halfway between the visitor center entrance and the picnic area entrance.
Yeah.
The trail goes off to the right, and it's a short jog up to this big open field. And this is where the mountain vistas really start happening. This is where you can see the 240-degree views of the mountains.
Yeah.
And there's so much space there. We saw a ton of people sitting down, having a picnic, taking selfies.
Yeah.
Everybody was taking selfies up there. Just a ton of room for people to just sit and enjoy.
If you're someone out there who is thinking about doing a hike and asking someone to marry you, this might be a good place to do that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. This would be a great place to do it. I do want to say,
This is the place.
if you go back and listen to the episode, this is the place where Yoga Dude
Yeah.
was doing yoga smack dab in the middle of the viewing area, this small viewing area that goes off to the left.
Yeah. There's a big viewing area where, like you said, that you've got 240 degrees, but then you can also take another little offshoot trail path that is kind of divoted by horse and buggy kind of car is what it looks like.
It's water drainage that's been drained down. But then there's this area that has benches and it's paved. It's designed for you to sit there and look out at the beautiful vista behind it. And this guy was doing yoga right smack dab in the middle of it.
Yes.
And obtrusive yoga. Like he had music playing and
he was very spread out. This little guy was very spread out. Like this area could easily fit 10 or 15 people and he was taking up the whole space.
It's been like 10 weeks and I'm still upset about it. That's how angry I am about this.
If he had been doing yoga in the bigger area,
nobody would have paid attention to it.
Right.
Nobody would have had.
But that wasn't the point of this was performance.
Go back and listen. You'll hear me rant about it.
Because there were some women that were
nervous about going and enjoying this beautiful view that they had every right to witness as much as this guy did.
And he wasn't even looking at the view. He was just doing his stupid yoga.
Facing the other way.
Wait, I'm sorry. Yoga's not stupid.
No, yoga's fine. Yeah. I have no problem with yoga.
Yeah.
But don't do it in front of people and force them to have to go around you. Yeah.
Yeah. This was Yoga Dude episode.
Yeah. Number 3 on our list, Donna. Pinnacle Mountain Falls Trail. Now, this one is in Table Rock State Park. This is the lesser known falls trail in Table Rock. Table Rock is one of the most popular parks in the upstate.
Mm-hmm.
And this trail was very challenging for us. We talked about this back in episode 15, so a while ago.
Yeah.
This is the one that we really needed our map app for.
Oh, yes.
Because
it was not well marked.
The trail is almost not marked at all once you get to the offshoot.
Mm-hmm.
And there were several times where I had to look at my map app because I was like, I have no idea where I'm going. Just because there were parts where there was not a trail. So you had to basically go, okay, this kind of looks like a trail off to the left, or there's rocks off to the right. And I had to look at my app and do the rocks off to the right. But ever since when we got on that spur that takes you up to Pinnacle Mountain Falls, there was not a soul on the trail. And Table Rock, like I said, is one of the most popular parks in the entire upstate South Carolina area.
Yeah.
We didn't run into a single person going up to this falls, and the falls are spectacular.
Yes. This was the one where we had to go through the camping area, drive past
That's right.
the campers and all of that.
Big parking area.
Mm-hmm. We literally, I think that entire morning, I think it was like 9 a.m. or 9:30 until noon or 12:30.
Mm-hmm.
Saw one other, the only other couple that we saw was somebody coming out as we were going in.
Right as we were going in.
Yes.
And so now it's important to note, go back and listen to the episode, because the first trail that you take on splits off into several different trails.
Mhm.
And the one that we took to get up to Pinnacle Mountain Falls is probably the least traveled of all of them.
Yeah.
And it's tough. This one was definitely I think we actually classified this as a pain bringer
Yeah.
because of how difficult we had to recover for a couple days after this one.
Yes.
There were very steep inclines. We had to scramble over and around rocks.
Right.
Definitely tough. So, given how tough it is,
For it to be
it to be number 3 on our list,
Yes.
tells you how spectacular the waterfalls really are.
Yes. And having the waterfalls to ourselves and
We could have stayed there for hours and nobody would have been there.
right.
Yeah. And we stayed there a good long time. We stayed there like 30 minutes just enjoying and resting.
Yeah.
The-
Recovering.
Yeah, the waterfalls are simply beautiful. You can get right down. Now, there's no pool at the bottom of this. Let's be clear. No pool that you can get in. Like, I
We
think
got
it's
our
like 2 or
feet.
3 inches deep.
We got our feet.
Yeah, but there's nothing like at the bottom of Abrams Falls or anything like that.
Yeah.
And another thing that made this really particularly interesting is that, if you remember, Donna, there's like several different ecosystems
Yes.
in this trail. So you have dry forest, and then you have like wetlands, and then you have rainforest when you get closer to the waterfalls. There was deep, lush ferns and flowers that grow on the bottom of the leaves.
Yes.
And it's like a totally different ecosystem in different sections.
I think that some of the flowers that we took pictures of were threatened.
Yes.
They're
Yeah.
you don't see them very often.
That's right. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a tough trail. No question about it if you're an unfit hiker. But just out of the seclusion that you get at the waterfall, the different ecosystems, and just the overall feel of the trail, it feels truly like you're hiking in a mountain that a lot of people don't go to.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it really, really great. I loved this trail. Number 3 on our trail, clearly. So it's pretty great.
Yeah. I bring your trail map thing because I thought we were gonna
100%. And both poles.
and both poles, yes. This is one now at the end of it, scrambling over the rocks to get to the waterfall, the boulders to get to the waterfall. You're gonna want only one pole because you're gonna want to hang on to a boulder, but for the vast majority of this, you're gonna want 2 poles.
Yeah. Especially on the second on the spur going up to the falls. Yeah,
Mm.
definitely. Doing this in spring, you're going to see so many flowers blooming, rhododendrons and mountain laurels
Yes.
and
Dogwoods.
dogwoods, everything. This trail pretty much has it all.
Yeah.
Except a mountain vista. It's the only thing that this trail doesn't have, but it makes up for it in a truly secluded, spectacular waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
What's number 2, Donna?
Number 2 is the Carrick Creek Loop, also located in Table Rock
Staying
State
in
Park.
Table Rock.
Yes. This is the one that quickly became one of our favorites, even though it's famous for you hurting your
Yep.
shoulder.
This is where I'm still recovering from my torn triceps.
More than a year ago.
Yep.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah. So this is also another one that we take people to anytime they visit.
Or recommend if my friend from Florida came and now she and her husband and they brought their dogs and they had a lovely they came back with so many really good pictures and I was like, oh my gosh, I recognize that place.
Nice.
Yeah. So
We covered this in episode 9.
mhm.
And yeah, I mean, so here's the deal with Carrot Creek Loop. Waterfalls, waterfalls, and more waterfalls.
Mhm.
None of them are terribly big.
Right.
5-10 feet, I think, is the tallest. But you get so many and you get them quick.
Mhm.
Like as soon as you get on the trail, you have waterfalls. And
Right.
people get in them and they play.
Mhm.
Some of the pools are probably up to your waist, maybe that deep. We see a lot of kids playing in them.
Mhm.
And rightfully so. The water feels great. It's super clean. You know, it's fun. We saw kids playing in the creek the entire trail.
This is one that if you're really unfit and you can't do the whole loop, it's still worth it to go to the beginning of this. There's some decent bathrooms. There is the gift shop. There's, boardwalk area to walk around and
Yeah.
see beautiful waterfalls. It's still worth it to park and go and just check it out.
Exactly. 2 minutes from the gift shop, you're getting to beautiful waterfalls area where you can get your feet in, you could sit in, you could play in.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the trail proper starts after that. But yeah, sure-footedness is definitely required.
Yeah.
You have to cross several, sometimes slippery rocks.
Right.
Several creeks you have to cross. You have to kind of not really leap from rock to rock, but you have to step from rock to rock.
There is a part of this trail that always gets me. It always gets me because it doesn't look like, it just looks like the trail ends. And you're supposed to get somewhere, maybe.
It's a pretty wide crossing of the creek.
Yes.
And you do have to go over rocks. You have to step on the
Thankfully-
driest rocks you can find.
And sometimes the driest rock you can find is still an
Underwater.
inch or two. Yeah, underwater.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it's a popular trail. So usually what saves me is either somebody behind me that's willing to go forward and show me where you're supposed to go, or somebody coming from the other direction who's coming across and they know what to do.
Yeah. Even though we've done this trail
3 or 4 times?
3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
There is a part where like, which is the best way to go?
You seem to
I know where
remember
to
it.
go. Yeah, I know where to go.
So, but
But I like you to go in front of me so I can see, if
what?
I like to keep an eye on you
Uh,
to make sure you don't fall.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with me looking at your booty.
Okay. I thought that you were like, well, I mean, because this is not one of those trails where you have to worry about spider webs,
No, it's so well traveled.
Yeah, and wide in most
wide.
places.
Yeah.
But no, I thought you were like, oh, let me see if it's safe. If Donna makes it over successfully, then I'll take that.
No. If there's, and you know this,
Yeah.
I know you're joking, but if there's ever unsafe parts, I try to go first.
Yes,
to try to
you
find
do.
the best way for you.
The best footing.
If you take this trail and you go counterclockwise, which is the way they recommend that you go, the first part of the trail is not along the stream.
Right.
You're climbing up,
Right.
and it's a different feel than the second.
So you said there's no vistas. I mean, when you climb up there. I mean, I will say it's not a vista. It's not like a Blue Ridge Parkway vista or anything.
not
but
like we saw at Craggy Gardens. no.
yes, but there are points where you get pretty high and you look down at the water below.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's vista-esque.
Yeah, there's no
It's
mountain
vista
views, I guess
is-
is what I'm saying. Because the forest is so dense.
Yeah, and there are places where there's big rocks and then maybe almost like cave areas. Not caves, but
Overhangs, stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah, I imagine that different animals could live. Lots of animals,
I
I'm
would think
sure.
so. Yeah, I think so.
There's this one part of that trail where there's this hollowed out log that goes down to the water. Do you remember that
Yep.
part? And I always think, oh, is this like a
It's a raccoon slide.
Yeah, raccoon water slide
Yeah.
to slide into the water. It's really cute.
Yeah. There's if you like water, this is 100% the trail for you. I will say this. Once you get past the beginning area where there's plenty of seating at the first section of waterfall area,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a boardwalk, there's wood,
Mm-hmm. There's seating outside the bathrooms.
tons of seating there. After that, there's no benches.
Yeah.
None at all. But there are some rocks and down trees that you can sit on.
Yes, definitely. We've got a lot of pictures, I think. I know that.
Well, there's a bunch on the website. On our Instagram page, there are some. You and I have tons in
Yes.
our Amazon photos that we've taken.
Okay.
But yeah, so this is number 2 on our list for a reason,
Yeah.
right? This is one of the first trails that you and I ever went on before we even started the podcast.
Mhm. Months and months before.
Months and months, and is still one of our favorites.
Yes.
Yeah. Even after all the other ones that we've done, this
It was a
still falls on a
fast-
number 2.
Yeah. Fast
List.
favorite.
Which brings us, Donna, to number 1.
Number 1. Dun, 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 dun.
Thank you. Triple Falls, High Falls, and Hooker Falls trails in the DuPont State Forest, North Carolina.
Mm.
When we took this, I had low expectations. Not that I heard anything bad about it, just that I was like, it's okay. Waterfalls. What can you expect?
Right.
Blown away
Yeah.
at how incredible this trail truly is.
Yeah.
And it's not one trail. It's actually 3 trails.
For sure. Yeah.
There's the Triple Falls Trail, which takes you to Triple Falls.
Mhm.
Then you get on the High Falls Loop,
Mhm.
which takes you to High Falls and then loops back to Triple Falls Trail. And then you make your way back to the parking area And then there's a spur that goes off to Hooker Falls. And we covered this in episode 20. And I highly recommend, if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to episode 20 to hear us gush about this.
Yeah, because there's a lot to gush about. There's a lot. I remember when you were researching Triple Falls, and I looked it up, and when I found pretty quickly that Hooker Falls is near Triple Falls and that you can actually swim under Hooker Falls, that was really intriguing to me. I was not prepared how awesome it is to swim under Hooker Falls.
So let me put this in context. This is only a 4-mile loop / spur trail trip, right? That's going all the way around Triple Falls, all the way around High Falls, to Hooker Falls and back, 4 miles. In 4 miles, there are 5 waterfalls in a 4-mile hike.
Yeah. Not water. These are they're all amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, we're not talking about the smaller falls that we just covered in Carrot Creek.
Right.
Triple Falls and High Falls are massive waterfalls.
Legit.
Over 100 feet.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Hooker Falls is not that tall,
but it's wide. It's really wide.
And a ton of water's moving over it.
It's tall enough. I mean, it's how tall? I mean, of course, after seeing Triple Falls, High Falls, after seeing that, it is not those. But
yeah, Hooker Falls is like 30 feet tall.
It's still
it's a significant.
Yeah.
We are not taking anything away from Hooker Falls. There's a ton of water moving off of Hooker Falls.
I really, really, really do not recommend climbing to the top of Hooker Falls and dancing a jig.
We saw people up there and we're certain that they were going to fall. Thankfully, they didn't.
Yeah. It would be dangerous. It would be dangerous.
There's a lot to love about this. There's a big parking area at Hooker Falls. And so that's where you take it. So if you're trying to find it, search for Hooker Falls access area and it'll take you to the parking lot. There's one parking lot and then down a little ways, there's another parking lot, maybe 50 yards away. And that's how you get to both of these trails.
Right. It's very popular. By the time we were leaving, somebody was waiting for our parking space.
People were waiting for our parking space. There are bathrooms there.
Nice bathrooms.
Well-conditioned bathrooms.
Lots of stalls.
Yep.
Clean.
Yeah, very clean. There's garbage cans. There's picnic tables. This is a very, very popular area.
Mm-hmm.
And I can totally see why.
I can understand why. Yes.
Yeah. So that's the beginning. So you could totally go there, have lunch. I mean, you could spend a day there easily.
There were picnic areas off of Triple Falls. Was it the High Falls Loop or was it Triple Falls? I remember there was a couple of
both. There was a picnic pavilion right across from Triple Falls. And then there was a picnic pavilion in the High Falls Loop.
I don't think that there were bathrooms up there.
No, there weren't.
And whatever if you're going to have your picnic there, on the trail, there's picnic tables, but you're going to hike in with whatever food.
Yep.
You're going to hike out with your garbage.
Yep.
So if as long as you're okay with that.
Which you should be. If you're bringing it in, bring it out.
Right?
Yeah.
Those are lovely places to have a picnic. I personally recommend having your picnic down by Hooker Falls.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because there's plenty of area to sit on rocks on the shore. And
there's just
something
out. Magical about being by a waterfall and doing literally anything.
I agree.
Eating your lunch, taking a swim.
So this route that we took, the whole 4 miles, it only took us an hour and a half of moving time, but we were there almost 3.5 hours,
and could have been there longer.
Yeah, absolutely. We full on swam in the pool under Hooker Falls because it's deep. There were spots where you can't touch.
Yes,
so you can full on swim in there. There are fish. The water's crystal clear. It is amazing.
This is the place where I found out how hard it is to try and swim towards a waterfall.
Yeah, that water's moving.
It is moving. Yeah. I tried to get close because one of us would be on the shore and the other one would be swimming and we were trying to kind of take pictures of each other under the waterfall, I could not get as close as you could because you were willing to dive down under the surface water and you could get closer because you dove down. The water was kind of dark and I saw a really big fish
There's some fish in there. Yeah.
jump out of the water right by the waterfall right before, and you were like, get closer to the waterfall. And I was trying to swim on the surface to get closer to the waterfall, and it was just pushing and pushing and pushing me back. I was not gonna. Plus, that water is very, very cold.
It's cold.
Very cold, which is refreshing after a hike.
Yeah.
And refreshing on a very hot day.
Yep.
But yeah, I did not get as close to the waterfall as you did.
No, but even if you don't,
Even if
it's
you don't.
so great. Now, we've talked a lot about Hooker Falls, but Triple Falls is incredible too.
Yes.
So there's 112 wooden steps that take you down to a really great viewing area. There is no way to take a bad picture of Triple Falls.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible. It's these 3 falls that are in pretty quick succession that go, it kind of like makes a curve. So the top one falls down and then it makes kind of a 90-degree right angle that falls down to the second falls and then another one down to the third. It's gorgeous. Check out our trail photos.
Yeah.
You'll see what we mean. They're spectacular. And then High Falls is just as great. You have to go down and kind of scramble on the rocks along the edge if you really want to get down into the area. And there is a pool down there as well. You and I didn't get into it because it looked a little bit tough to get into. Tons of boulders and rocks that you had to climb over. I wasn't 100% sold on getting into that water, but there were people in it.
Yeah, there's a lot of warnings about injuries and I believe deaths that have happened around the High Falls and Triple Falls.
All of them. Yeah.
Yes. I think that is it a state park?
DuPont State Forest.
State Forest. Okay.
Yeah.
They really encourage you, if you want to get in the water under a waterfall, they really encourage you to just go to Hooker Falls. It's just safer.
Yeah, that's true. High Falls is so picturesque. As a matter of fact, it's so picturesque that I took a photo that's as high a resolution as I could with my phone, and we printed it out 20 inches by 30 inches and have it hanging on our wall now.
Right.
It's so great.
And it's got people under it, and we didn't even care.
Nope, don't even care. Normally, I don't take any picture that I'm going to print that has people in it,
Mm-hmm.
but
This one,
they're kind of small. You
they're
can't
very
really see 'em.
small.
But yeah, so all of this is to say that 3, and really it's 5 because Triple Falls is 3 falls. 5 waterfalls within a 4-mile trip. One that you can absolutely safely swim in. One that you could probably swim in, but we didn't even try it. And the bathrooms that are there, the parking that's there, the picnic tables that are there make this an amazing trip if you want to spend a day around waterfalls.
Yeah. Come early so you'll get a parking space.
Come early. And we found that, down at Hooker Falls, when you get into the water, I found it very safe to get in the water. It was not difficult to get into the water at all. There was a little bit of scrambling over rocks, but not much.
Not much.
Not
Yeah.
much
There
at
were,
all.
and the further back from Hooker Falls, you get the more almost like beach like.
Almost like beach, yeah.
There were some people that had brought what is that thing that you tie between 2 trees?
Oh, a hammock?
Yeah.
We saw people, when we were going down to it, we were seeing people coming up with
blown up.
floaties,
Yeah.
rafts.
Yes. Yes.
So it's very popular. So yeah, without question, Donna, Triple Falls, High Falls, Hooker Falls Trail, number 1 on our list.
Yeah.
I don't see it being usurped by anything.
This was one that when we were leaving, I was sad that we weren't going to be just doing this hike every single week.
Yeah, I totally agree. And so our son is coming up and a close family friend is coming up next week.
Mm-hmm.
And we will definitely be bringing them up here.
100,000%.
Without question, we're going to be bringing them up there
Yeah.
so that they can enjoy it. This is what mountain living is really about.
It is. And what's so funny, Michael, if you're listening, I think it was it the week before or the week after we did this? And he was like, hey, when I come up to visit, can you find a waterfall that we can swim under?
And I was like, I got you, buddy.
Yeah.
I got you.
Got you covered.
Yep. I know exactly the spot. Because honestly, if you were to just go to Hooker Falls, which I think would be a crime, by the way.
Yeah.
But if you were really just to go to Hooker Falls, it's a half mile.
If you have little
from the
kids,
parking area.
if you have little kids, maybe you want to just go to Hooker
I can
Falls.
see that. But yeah, so from the parking area, it's a half mile there, a half mile back.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's very close. And it's not a challenging hike at all to get to that area. from
No,
the
people
parking
bringing
area.
big blown up pool floaties.
Carrying them in and out. Yeah.
Okay, so I wore hiking gear for hiking Triple Falls and High Falls. When we came back to the vehicle before we did the Hooker Falls bit, we both went in the bathrooms and changed into our bathing suits and got on our different,
Right.
our
Our swimming stuff. Yep.
mhm, the hiking sandals that are meant to be worn in water, that kind of thing. But honestly, I probably could have just worn my hiking sandals for
For all three, I think so.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, there wasn't anything.
with
totally
socks so
challenging
that you
about it.
don't get blisters. Because
Yeah. Yep. So, listeners, if you have any recommendations for quick dry socks, we're all ears. Hit us
Yeah.
up by email, casualclimberspodcast@gmail.com. We're still looking for some quick dry socks. Apparently, that's a thing that doesn't exist. I
It
don't know.
needs to
It needs
exist.
to exist.
because I got blisters when I wore my hiking sandals without socks one time, and that's not fun.
Nope, not fun at all. So that's the top 5 trails, Donna. Mid 2024 edition. Number 5, Abrams Falls Trails. Episode 24, we covered it. It's an amazing trail. Number 4, Craggy Gardens Trail. Episode 17. Go back and listen to it. If you want mountain vistas, this is the trail
That's
for
your
you.
trail.
Number 3, Pinnacle Mountain Falls Trail at Table Rock State Park. Covered it in episode 15.
Mm-hmm.
Very challenging, very diverse, gorgeous, secluded waterfall for privacy. Number 2, Carrot Creek Loop, staying right there at Table Rock State Park. We covered it in episode 9. If you like streams and you like water, Carrot Creek Loop is the one for
Be
you.
careful on those slippery rocks.
Very, very much. And then the number 1 trail that we've done so far, Triple Falls, High Falls, Hooker Falls, covered it in episode 20. We cannot say enough about how simply incredible this trail is for waterfall viewing. If you like waterfalls, I can't think of a better hike here or anywhere for that matter
Yeah,
that is better than this short 4-mile hike.
I agree. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to us in whatever podcast app you use and be sure to leave us a review. That's how our show grows. Feel free to check out our trail photos at casualclimbers.com. And if you have a question, comment, or just want to drop us a line, you can reach us at casualclimberspodcast@gmail.com.
Donna, let's go get our shoes on and go out to Hooker Falls and go swimming.
I think that's what we should do.
See you out on the trails.
See you on the trails.